Alright, so rundown on wheels and tyres. I see a lot of people they get confused when they start looking at rims, and really once you go through it, it's quite simple. Basically the rim's got three designations. So 15, which in this case is the diameter, by 8J. Ooh, what's 8J? 8J is the distance between the sides of the edge of the rim. So that's where your tyre sits. And then you've got the ET. So ET is offset, and a minus value means that the hub mounting surface is further into the car, so the wheels stick further out, and a positive value means that the hub mounting surface is further towards the edge of the rim, towards the front that you can see. So let's run through this. 8J, as in 8 inches. 15, obviously, yep. Now this is an ET0, so that means that from centre line of the rim, our hub mounting surface should be at 0. So I'll show you that. Outside of the wheel, about 9 inches. Hook the tape on there, about 4.5-ish. And from the back side, 4.5. So that means that when we bolt it on the truck, this is where the hub to wheel interface is sitting. The join is here, right in the middle. Okay, and this is only an 8J. So this is a 31 by 10.5. It's a Toyo MT, but they're all obviously sizes are sizes. But at rest, this Toyo is 8.5 inches between the beads. So if you stuck it on this rim, it'd sit like that, okay? But it's a pretty square profile tyre anyway. Now let's say you're running a 33 by 12.5. Personally, I'd run that on an 8J still, just because of the offset being 0, and you'll see that come on in a minute. If you want to run a 33 by 12.5 on a 10J, so the sidewall doesn't pucker in so much, you say, right, I want a 10J. But when you've bolted it on the truck, the top ball joint's about here where my fist is. So if you go for a 10J, well, you can't, because it's going to hit the hub. So what you go for, what they do, is the only thing you can buy, is a 10J minus 32 offset, which means, okay, here's 10 inches instead of 8, so you've got an inch hanging out either side. But then the offset is 32mm into the rim, so there's less backspacing, as the Americans call it. Backspacing from the back of the rim to the wheel mounting surface. So instead of being here, where you're on the truck, okay, you've already got another inch either side, you've got big tyres, it's 32mm further out. So if you're sitting on your truck like that, it's an inch further out already, and it's another 1.5 inches further out from the offset. So then you go sticking a big tyre on it, and instead of your scrub radius being sort of somewhere here with the ball joints on a Ranger and it pivoting, you've just magnified that effect by having it further out, and your scrub radius is about here, and the wheel's actually rolling as you're steering. The wheel's rolling because you've increased your scrub radius. A lot of people are probably thinking, what the hell's scrub radius? It's the pivot basically between the top and bottom ball joint, or on an old car that would be the kingpin, where the wheel actually steers from, to the centre of the wheel. So a shopping trolley, for instance, has a 0 scrub radius because it's a caster, it just goes woo. A big 4x4 like a Landy, you know, on minus 40 rims with wheel spaces and everything else, that wheel's going to be like a horse and cart when it steers. It's going to roll along a lot, and that's obviously an increase in scrub radius. You're probably thinking, why am I talking about this? Well, scrub radius would also affect how much feedback, as it were, that you get into the steering wheel. So if you increase the scrub radius, if you hit a bump or a rock or anything, there is a magnitude more force and feedback going through your steering tie rods, your steering box, your steering wheel. Everything's, you know, really throwing you about. So yeah, in my opinion, I'd go for 8J 0 offset. If I could go for 10 zero offset I would, but there's just not enough space behind that ball joint. And the other thing I was going to mention about scrub radius, instead of the tyre kind of pivoting and it's swinging, it means you're more likely to hit the edge of the sill at the back of the wheel arch or the bumper at the front, and you're going to have to do more cutting. Now on 33s that's a lot of cutting on a Mark II. I'm on 2-inch body lift and 2-inch suspension lift on 0 offsets, and if my back tyre on the left corner is tucked, and so is my right hand front corner, I can just get it to catch the arch, and I've already trimmed all the plastic out and stuff. So yeah, they do rub, so if you're running minus 32 10J you're going to get some serious rubbing, unless you want to run like a 4-inch body lift or do some panel work, shall we say, with a hammer. So that's the take on wheels and tyres. Offset is the distance from centre. Remember, negative means that the wheel face sits further back, so the tyre sits further out on the truck. And 8J is the distance between the wheel seats. Now you might come into a thing with some Japanese rims. If you're buying second-hand rims for say a Toyota or something, they might say 15 by 7 JJ. What that means is that this little bead here that stops the bead popping off of the tyre is slightly raised, and it's harder to actually break the bead. That's all that means, but it will still be 7 inches or whatever the value may be. Okay?